All right, this is the 9.1 day 3 video. The objective of this is to simplify radical expressions. So the binomials a plus root b and a minus root b are called conjugates. They differ only by the operation. So one has a plus sign, one has a minus sign. The product of the two conjugates does not contain a radical. So if we multiply these together, we would not get any square roots or any radical symbols in them. Remember, when we're multiplying a binomial times another binomial, we're using that FOIL method, or we called it double distributing. So when we multiplied like this. So we're going to be looking at multiplying binomials times binomials. So we want to remember that form of multiplication. Okay, so as we look at these examples, we have in A 2 root 3 over 4 minus root 3. Now the problem with this is that we have a square root in the denominator, which was one of the rules we can't have to have it simplified. So we need to get rid of that square root. Now it's not the same thing as the last lesson, because in the denominator we don't have just a single root, but instead we have a binomial for in this case 4 minus root 3. So what we need to do is we need to multiply by a form of 1 like we did in the last one, but this form of 1 is going to be a little bit more complicated, so it's going to be the conjugate of the denominator. So the denominator is 4 minus root 3, so we're going to multiply by 4 plus root 3 over 4 plus root 3. Okay, now this is going to allow us to have no radicals in the denominator once we multiply everything together. So in the numerator, we have 2 root 3 times 4 and 2 root 3 times root 3. So 2 root 3 times 4 is going to be 8 root 3. We have our addition sign, and then 2 root 3 times root 3. So that would be 2 root 3 times root 3. Well, root 3 times root 3 is 3. So this would just be 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay. Now in the denominator, we have a binomial times a binomial. So we're going to multiply 4 times 4 to give us 16. 4 times positive root 3 to give us 4 plus root 3. Negative root 3 times 4, so that'd be negative 4 root 3. And then root 3 times root 3, which would be 3. And negative times positive would make that a negative 3. Now what happens is, because we're multiplying by the conjugate, we have a positive 4 root 3 and a negative 4 root 3, so those are going to cancel out. So we'll have 8 root 3 plus 6 in the numerator, and then the denominator we're left with 16 minus 3, which is 13. So now we're not breaking any rules for simplifying. We have a whole number in the denominator, so this is our final answer. All right, let's look at another one. We have root 6 over 2 plus root 5. So again, we're going to multiply by a form of 1, which would be 2 minus root 5. So since the denominator is 2 plus root 5, the conjugate would be 2 minus root 5 over 2 minus root 5. Okay, and we're going to distribute. So root 6 times 2 is 2 root 6. We have subtraction. Root 6 times root 5 is root 30. Okay, 30 breaks down into 2 times 15. 15 is 5 times 3. We can't take the square root of any of these, so root 30 would be simplified as much as possible. We can't simplify any further. Okay, in the denominator, we're going to multiply 2 times 2 to give us 4. 2 times negative root 5, which would be negative 2 root 5. Positive 2 times root 5. And then root 5 times root 5, which would be 5. And it's subtraction again because we have positive times negative. So in the numerator, we have 2 root 6 minus root 30. In the denominator, again, these negative 2 root 5 and positive 2 root 5 cancel out, and we're left with 4 minus 5, which would be negative 1. Okay. In this case, we can go ahead and kind of simplify this. So we can divide, 2 root 6 divided by negative 1 is just negative 2 root 6. And then negative root 30 divided by negative 1 would be positive root 30. So we can go ahead and simplify that a little bit more, and that would be our final answer. All right, the last one, if you did print out the notes, I want that to say root 2 in the denominator, so I just added that little square root symbol. This is the last case we'll see where both the denominator has roots in it. So again, we're still going to multiply by the conjugate. So our denominator is root 2 minus root 3. So the conjugate would be root 2 plus root 3. Okay, and we're going to distribute the numerator. So 4 times root 2 gives us 4 root 2. 4 times root 3 is 4 root 3. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. Root 2 times root 3 is root 6. Root 3 times root 2 is root 6. And then root 3 times root 3 is negative 3. Okay, so in the numerator we have 4 root 2 plus 4 root 3. In the denominator, the positive 6, root 6 and negative root 6 cancel. We're left with 2 minus 3, so again, that would give us a negative 1. And we can go ahead and write this as negative 4 root 2 minus 4 root 3. Okay, and that would be our final answer. So for these, we again want to make sure we're multiplying by the conjugate, and then be really careful making sure that you're doing that FOIL method or double distributing to show all that multiplication being done. And then many of your answers will kind of have a number in the denominator, and that is okay. But if you have something like a negative 1 in the denominator, you can go ahead and divide both of those to kind of simplify that a little bit more. All right, please make sure you are showing all your work on your homework and message me if you have any questions. Have a great day.